And unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
All right, welcome to the show. Got a great lineup for you today. Mark Haye back in studio with me, 21st Century Financial. We have taxing desperation. New York's Hochul begs wealthy to New Yorkers to return back to New York, coming back out of Florida. Also, the exodus continues to Florida, people moving into Florida. Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, and his family are leaving Seattle. Also, Mar-a-Lago, vindication for Trump, another vindication for President Trump. Mar-a-Lago valuations come in much higher than the fake trial tried to put it at. They had it at $18 million to $27 million. Actual numbers from Forbes come in. They come in and value it around $560 million, exposing Letitia James' fake numbers. So we've got that. Also, Zillow's in a lawsuit. We'll talk about that as well, of course. As you know, we do a lot on the real estate side on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Mark Haye's back in studio, dropping some knowledge on the financial space. Mark, give us a little teaser of what you want to talk about today, my friend.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about offsetting W-2 income with a real case study.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, real case study, offsetting that W-2 income. And, you know, we always talk about starting those secondary businesses, side hustles, and you know, we can't do daycares down here like they do in Minnesota, but we'll have some good ideas for them.
That's true. We could, but you're just not going to make millions of dollars.
Yeah, you just you don't have the same
with no kids.
Yeah, let's call it liquidity.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the liquidity that you see in other states. So that is one of the drawbacks of Florida. You know, so Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're going to feature some of our real estate listings. By the way, shout out to Chuck Norris, the late great Chuck Norris. Recently passing away, publicly spoke out against the left and Barack Obama and said, our great country and freedom are under attack. We're at a tipping point, and quite possibly our country as we know it may be lost forever. Rest in peace. Chuck Norris. What was the joke? The boogeyman worries about Chuck under his pillows.
Or about the Grim Reaper speaking with God about coming to get Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
didn't want to do it.
Yeah, he don't want to come get Chuck. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, so a couple of hot listings. We'll jump right into it with Mark Haye here, 21st Century Financial. This one just hit the market, 9900 Island Harbor Drive. It's a new listing for us, at least. This one's a waterfront property. It's a short sale, so I'm looking for an investor offer on this. Anybody know an investor that would want to make an offer, see what the short sale bank, the bank would approve on this? We're asking for an initial bid right around $290,000. This is a waterfront home. Your access to the Gulf. This is a 432, 2,000 square feet, and it is a short sale, so you're going to be able to potentially get a deal here. And the home has had, some damage on the interior. Looking for a bid of around $290,000. Direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. No bridges. The home did experience some hurricane damage, so looking for bids. So can anybody do the auctioneer bid? You got a bid? Need a bid? One of those things. All right, so 9900 Island Harbor Drive, Port Richey. 1000 Waterworks Lane. This one's in Riverview. Beautiful property here. Great opportunity for a business owner. It's currently operating as a business, so it's kind of in the cusp of a residential/business area. But this one is right on waterfront. You've got almost 2 acres on a lake at 10001 Waterworks Lane, Riverview, 1765 square feet. You have a beautiful property, great opportunity to own real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. You've got room for expansion there. You could maybe put up a couple of outbuildings, park some trucks, etc. Great opportunity right here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our real estate listings or search the MLS at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And you can see all of our radio and TV show expert contributors online. And check out some of our viral videos, by the way. We've got videos going in the millions now, tens of thousands on some of our recent interviews with the sheriff and other local leaders and business leaders, thought leaders. Check out all of our video links at consumerqb.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Mark Haye back in studio with us. I love that idea of helping minimize the tax burden. And by the way, are you seeing more and more people? Are you hearing I know how you keep your ear to the ground out there. People getting higher than expected tax returns from the big beautiful bill?
We have, and they actually got some refunds when usually they didn't get a refund, which is nice. So
yeah,
we have seen that. But I recently had an attorney here in Tampa Bay area reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm working with a financial advisor I have no complaints, but I just want a second opinion.
There you go.
You know, and I tell people all the time, you really should be getting second opinions. You know, not just all one stop shop. You know, get it. All right, it's free to meet with me and other advisors to get second opinions. So, anyways, I go and meet with him in his office. I said, "Tell me what's going on." And he's got a wife, doesn't work, stays at home, 3 young kids. You know, and he makes about $600,000 a year of W-2 income, and he maxes out his 401k, and he's got some term insurance. And I said, "Okay, well, you know, tell me about your term insurance." Like, it's $1 million. My mouth like dropped. I'm like, "You have $1 million of life insurance?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "You make $600,000 a year. You know, your wife is at home with 3 kids. If you drop dead tonight, she's going to get a check for $1 million and do what?" You know, so she makes 5%, let's say, on that $1 million. That's only $50,000 a year. You know, she's burying her husband, her soulmate, the father of her 3 kids. In the meantime, now she's got to go look for a job. She hasn't worked in 10 plus years. I was like, the fact that you have $1 million, like, you need $10 million. At 5%, that's $500,000. You get my point.
Yeah.
Grossly underinsured. You know, and he's like, "I never thought about it that way, blah, blah, blah. I just thought $1 million would be enough." You know, so a lot of times people are very grossly underinsured, especially when it comes to high income.
Yeah, and $1 million ain't what it used to be.
No, it's not what it used to be. And like I said, just use the 5% rule. She's not just going to spend it. She's got to take income. She needs money to pay bills and, you know, everything else.
So what is the 5% rule, Mark?
This is, if you can make 5% conservatively,
Okay.
what does that look like?
On
you know
an
what I
annual
mean?
basis?
So yeah,
Or-
so $1 million at 5% is $50,000 a year of income. So we could probably conservatively make 5% a year, and she would not touch the principal.
Yeah,
You
scale
with
down
me?
a little bit, yeah.
Not paying off mortgages, not pay, you know, whatever. Now, if you had $10 million of life insurance at 5%, that's $500,000. Now we're matching your income.
There you go.
See what I'm saying? So
There you
that's
go.
how a quick determination. How much life insurance do I need? Just do the 5% rule.
There you
know
go.
what your income is and match it.
love
So, anyways, that was the first thing. And I said, so you're in the highest tax bracket, and in the state of Florida, we don't have any state income tax. So let's just put you at a 40% tax bracket, which is federal, and you're paying $250,000 a year of taxes. He goes, yeah, I pay about $20,000 a month. $20,000 a month goes to the IRS. Okay. Now, if you take $250,000 times 10 years, that's $2.5 million that goes to the government over that 10-year period. And I said, and you're maxing out your 401k at $30,000 a year. He goes, yeah. And I go, it's never going to work. Like, it's a simple math problem. You know what I mean? Like $30,000 a year. Let's say you did it for 30 years. That's $900,000 that you put into this plan. And let's say it grew to $2 million, $3 million. Let's be nice and say $3 million, right? And now you're going to live off this in retirement at 5%. That's $150,000 a year.
Right.
If you're in a 25% tax bracket, or you're only netting $100.
Yes.
You're living on $500,000. Let's be really nice and say it went to $5 million, which I don't see it happening. But let's say it did at 5%. That's $250. You're still so much less. Like, what you're doing is never going to work. You know, God bless you for doing something. You know what I mean? So you're grossly underinsured. Your retirement plan doesn't work. It's never going to work because it's never going to equal what you're currently living with. And I said, why aren't you reaching out? Why aren't you doing something? Like, what you know? He was like, I'm just very conservative. I don't want to risk, you know, losing money, this and that. I go, well, what you're doing is 100% risk. Mm-hmm. You know, for example, what mutual funds are you invested in the 401k? I don't know. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the risk. What's your tax rate going to be in retirement? How much money are you going to have 30, 20 years from now in there? What's your withdrawal rate? How much income? Everything is a risk, right? And I said, well, the good news is, since it's a real estate show, your wife's at home. Why don't we get her licensed to do real estate? Not to buy or sell, but for you to have the ability to do what's called bonus depreciation. You got to be a real estate professional. You got to be your main job. She can do that. She sits at home with the kids, not saying it's not hard, but she could do that. Now we go buy an investment property, okay, in this example. And I say, let's go buy a $500,000 investment property, right? And now Trump's new big, beautiful bill, which we talked about, brought back what's called bonus depreciation.
Yep.
So typically you would depreciate that $500,000 property over 27.5 years. If you divide that, it's like $18,000 a year. Again, you could take $18,000 off of your income, but it's not going to be significant enough. You know what I mean? Or we can do the bonus depreciation. Your wife gets a real estate license. That's her full-time job now. Now you guys qualify to do the bonus depreciation. You can't take land and all that stuff, but I'm just going to use simple numbers. $500,000. So we're going to take that off in year one. Okay? Now your $600,000 in our example went down to $100,000.
Nice.
Okay, you with me? Because we bonus depreciate that $500,000. Again, you can't do the whole thing. I'm just for simple math.
Yep.
Now Now that she is now, quote unquote, a business owner because she has a short-term rental, right? She can Airbnb this thing. She can manage it. She can do whatever she wants. Now all your expenses can be deductions.
Yeah.
Because right now you're making $600,000, but you're paying all your expenses and then paying the government. You see what I'm saying? So now what we can do is take all those and run it as deductions. What does that mean? Home office, we could take a home office, quarter of your utilities, quarter of your mortgage. Now we can do travel, we can do auto, we can do gas, we could pay the kids underage. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
You got 3 kids at $16,000 a pop. That's almost $50,000 a year we could be deducting, keeping in your pocket. We could save, what's the Augusta rule? Augusta rule,
yep.
where you could rent your house out 14 days to your company. So now we're taking advantage of the tax code. So if you just did this one thing, right, and we know when Trump's out, they're going to get rid of bonus depreciation. So you got 3 years. You got to do it at least one a year here. You know what I mean? Because they're going to get rid of this.
Well, if a left side gets in there, maybe.
Yeah, 100%.
But if JD or Marco.
Maybe they'll keep it if they understand the power of it. Trump understands it. So that's why he keeps putting it back in.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people understand the power of it, But now you say, okay, you went from paying $20,000 a year in taxes, and we do implement all this strategy. You're going to go down to maybe $2,000, $4,000 a month in taxes. Huge decrease,
yeah.
right? And now you own this property that you can control.
Yep.
We want to put lighting in there and paint it. We want to rent it to the people we want to rent it to. We want a short-term Airbnb. I don't care what you do, but you control that.
Yep.
Whereas in the 401k, you can't control that mutual fund. You don't even know. You even told me what. You don't even know what's in it. You don't even know what you're vested in. That's
right.
the risk.
Yep.
Now you come over here and say, yeah, but what if something happens in this house? You're saving $16,000 a month to Uncle Sam. That's cash flow that comes to you now. You don't have to withhold those taxes anymore, or you're just going to wait to get a big check in this time of year. But I would just stop withholding, because now we can just write a check if you're going to owe anything. Right. So you went from $20,000 to $4,000. Our example. That's $16,000 a month of cash flow. That's plenty of money that you could be putting into a rental, company if you need that. You know what I mean? And I would definitely mortgage this. I wouldn't use your money to fund an investment property. Have the renters pay the mortgage back. You can deduct the interest. All that stuff. But you went from a massive tax bill down to nothing, and now you own this real estate. Now your wife is excited. She's doing something. She's happy about this. And then next year you do it again. Next year you do it again. You did it for 3 years. You're going to save yourself $600,000 just in taxes.
Yeah.
And you're going to own now 3 investment properties.
I love it.
Hey, get a duplex. Get whatever. You could have 6 properties. I don't know. But the point is, with that kind of income on a W-2, you can go to any bank, walk in there, and they're going to give you a loan.
Yeah.
Business owners have a hard time getting loans because we do all this tax strategy. The good news is you pay less in tax. The bad news is you're not going to get a loan.
Yeah.
Because you show no income. You know what I mean?
But you can always prepare for it.
Yeah, you can always prepare for it. But the good news is a W-2. It's very simple. Here's my income. The bank's going to look at it. They're going to go, yeah, you've been approved, and you can get these loans.
Yeah. Right on, man. Right on point, Mark Haye. Get a review, Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial. Reach out to the show, 813-917-1894. Call the hotline, 813-917-1894. And if you're driving, hit consumerqb.com. When you get to the red light, consumerqb.com, you can see links there to all of our expert contributors and contact the show. Mark, this is an interesting story in the news. 4 years ago, you got New York's governor saying, "Hey, go ahead and leave. Fine, if you're a Trumper, leave. If you don't like our state, go ahead and leave." Here's what she's saying now.
I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. There are some patriotic millionaires who've stepped up.
We need people with high net worth to come back, and support these generous social programs. Is that the warmth of collectivism that Mondani was talking about?
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
First of all, they don't have a revenue problem, it's a spending problem. We all know that, right? They need to start cutting. There's massive fraud in the state of New York. But here's the problem. Let's say these millionaires and billionaires all come back to New York and are like, you know what, we really want to get involved in this generous socialist program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want to do this. And they donate millions of dollars this year. Guess what happens next year? We need millions of dollars.
We need more.
We need more. It never stops.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's never enough.
And I've got the numbers right here, by the way. This is a recent post from Ron DeSantis. So this is the latest numbers. So if you look at Florida's state budget, $117 billion. Florida's population, 23.7 million. New York state budget, $237 billion, Mark, more than double. New York state population, 20 million, still less than Florida. Now, just the city itself, New York City, budget $127 billion, more than the entire state of Florida, and their population's only 8.4 million. Florida is thriving, and New York and New York City are in crisis, and they need other people's money because what was the big quote? Eventually, in socialism, communism, you run out of other people's money.
Until you run out of people's money.
Yeah.
But, I would go to this governor, if we were in a round meeting and we're talking about what we're going to do about these socialist programs, I would just say, okay, how much do we need? You need $10 billion? How much do you need?
Yep.
Now let's pull your budget and let's go line by line. Where is this going? Where is this going? Where is this going? And account it. And I promise you're probably going to find more in there than you would ever collect in taxes.
They don't want that. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's very hard to eliminate and cut. It's very easy to blame the rich or they're not doing enough, and you should be giving away all your money. Like, okay,
right. Quick break, right back. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. By the way, the number of New Yorkers who fled 2022 to present to Florida, over 250,000 now. 250,000 folks moving down to the great state of Florida. If you're buying, selling, investing, refinancing, we would love to talk to you. Quick break, right back. More on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Did you know that we buy houses cash? We can close quickly for a all-cash offer on your real estate properties, residential, commercial, even vacant land. We'll buy your property cash. No cleaning, no showings, and no hassles. You can even possibly stay in your home post-closing. Call Brandon at 813-917-1894. Submit the email at consumerqb.com or call 813-917-1894. consumerqb.com. We buy houses cash and fast.
Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at KW.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at KW.com. Ours Creole Smokehouse, the official Pinellas County restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Say hello to Doug Clark, chef and owner Doug Clark, 310 East Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs, ourscreole.com. Ours Creole Smokehouse, 310 East Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs, ourscreole.com. Excellent food, wonderful ambiance. Say hello to our friend Doug Clark.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rimes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Online at ConsumerQB.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team. You know, they said Mar-a-Lago was worth such a low number. I'm going to have Mark break that down for us, what the differences were there. $18 million versus now it's $560 million per a recent Forbes article. We're going to dive into that story here next because it all leads into that whole without getting into the political side, just the way that these courts and the way that these, unscrupulous players in the game can really penalize somebody. When you look at a person like Trump that has this $1 million assets, multi-million-dollar asset, and then the lawsuit behind it. So we'll talk about that. We've got more coming up with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial. Stay tuned as well. We're putting together a W-2 investor seminar. How do you offset income? How do you keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket? We'll talk about that here as well coming up. Consumer Quarterback Show. Mark Haye in studio with us. Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Always featuring our real estate listings on air. We got a beautiful listing here at 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor. Beautiful home. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 14 square feet, quarter-acre lot, waterfront community. This is in Baywood Village, so bring your boats, bring your jet skis. You got a private ramp there. Back your boat down. 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor, Baywood Village, a true Gulf front community with an optional HOA. Also, another beautiful listing. I absolutely love this one at 2488 Del Rio Way in Dunedin. This is a gorgeous property, 321, 1,400 plus square feet, quarter-acre lot, remodeled to perfection inside and out. You've got the high-impact rated windows, beautiful property. You got to see this one. It's got a fenced-in backyard, artificial turf, large laundry room, lots of storage, the absolute best interior on a property that I've seen in a while. You can see all of our listings online and search the MLS, PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com. And you can see all of our radio, TV show experts at ConsumerQB.com.
Yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
That's right. We appreciate you tuning into the show, supporting the program. So, Mark, this is just a crazy story. You got vindication from Trump, vindicated again. Forbes Mar-a-Lago, massive $560 million exposing Letitia James, Judge Ergeron. What a scumbag he was, by the way. Did you see the undercover video that James O'Keefe did with him in the gym? It was great. He walked up to him, acted like he is a fan. But these people are unscrupulous, man. They'll do whatever it takes to win at all costs. No ethics, no morals on the left. And not to say that there's not some bad players on the right either, but ultimately, which side has some morality? Which side has some just essential for common decency. But, to undervalue an asset like that going into a case, what were they trying to do? Why were they trying to value that so low,
Well, there's
right?
so much you could dissect with this.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you work with banks and lending and mortgages,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I don't care who you are. If you walk into a bank and say, my house worth $500 million, they don't take that at word value.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
They're going to send out appraisers. They're going to do their due diligence. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, he said it's worth $500 million. Okay, whatever.
Sure, put it on paper.
Whatever. We're still going to do our due diligence.
Just sign here.
Yeah, they're not just going to give out a loan. Now, they may to Donald Trump because he's Donald Trump, but typically they're not just going to do that.
Right.
Secondly, you own 20 acres along the coast of Miami.
Yeah.
It's worth more
Palm
than
Beach,
$20 million just for the land.
That's
not
right.
to mention the golf courses, the resort, the house, give me a break.
He owns from the intercoastal all the way to the beach.
It's all waterfront.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
gorgeous.
So, give me a break. It's minimum $500 million.
Yeah.
And if he sold it and got in a bidding war, it could go to $1 billion. We don't know. We don't know what it generates. I don't know how much income. And these people with a lot of money, they're talking about the bonus appreciation. They'll pay $1 billion. Elon Musk pay $1 billion. I'll bonus appreciate that. I'll own Mar-a-Lago. I'll make it my own. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care. He could get into a bidding war and sell that for $1 billion. I don't know.
Yeah.
But a minimum of $500 million is easy for me to say. Yeah, it's definitely going to be worth $500 million.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like 20 acres along the coast.
So these people are so dirty.
But again, and then go back to taxpayers' money went to that.
Exactly.
That should be refunded out of her pocket.
That's right.
You know what I mean? How much millions do they spend going after Donald Trump?
Wasting.
Wasting. I mean, they're going to come back and complain that we need a socialist movement here.
Yeah, we got
Go
veterans.
get it.
We got veterans struggling. We've got homelessness across the country.
It's sad.
Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial, markhaye.com. You can find him online, markhaye.com, consumerqb.com. Final thought, Mark.
If you want to, instead of waiting 30 years, 3 to 5 years, we can show you how to do it, just like we talked about.
Yeah, we're gonna let the date come out on that too. We're gonna put together an investor seminar, W-2 investor seminar. That's gonna be really awesome. So, Mark, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, coming up, Daniel White, SSW Insurance Agency. We're gonna talk with him about insurances, and yes, they are getting better in the state of Florida. Stay tuned. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rimes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, always helping you win in your real estate deals. If you're buying, selling, investing, or refinancing, we would love to talk to you. We've got Daniel White joining us as well, SSW Insurance Agency. He is our go-to, our insurance expert contributor on the talk show. Actually, personally saved us some money, too, on our insurances. So, I can tell you a firsthand experience. First-class operation, does a great job there. So we'll talk with him here coming up in just a moment. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We always like to feature our real estate listings live on air, maximizing the exposure and the profit on the sale of our real estate listings. We've got a beautiful one here at 12948 Twin Bridges Drive, Riverview, Florida. Gorgeous property. This is two-story home, split floor plan. You've got a beautiful back lanai there overlooking a conservation, a lot of green space behind you there, outdoor living area. 443, 3235 square feet, quarter-acre lot, gorgeous community, gorgeous home. And this has 3 community pools, splash pad, clubhouses, fitness centers, playgrounds, tennis and basketball courts. You got a dog park, walking trails there, all with low HOA fees. And no flood insurance required. 12948 Twin Bridges Drive, Riverview, Florida. 103 Brigadoon Drive. This one's in Clearwater. We just did a price improvement here. We did a $10,000 price drop at 103 Brigadoon Drive, Clearwater. Sellers motivated. We want to get a deal done here. This is a great opportunity to buy real estate right here in Clearwater. You're close to the beaches, close to the causeway, close to the trail there. 103 Brigadoon Drive, Clearwater, 1536 square feet, updated, 3-story residence, no rear neighbors. You got a low HOA fee, modern kitchen, granite countertops. Clearwater Beach just 8 miles away, and you got quick and easy access to US 19, Gulf to Bay, McMullen, Booth, Bayside Bridge as well. 103 Brigadoon Drive, Clearwater, and you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com. You can see all of our radio and TV show expert contributors and link over to our YouTube channel. Check out some of our videos, consumerqb.com.
Only in America, dreaming in red, white, and blue.
All right, Daniel White back on the show here. Daniel White, SSW Insurance Agency. Danny, what's new, man? How's the market treating you?
Market's doing well, man. Doing really well, man. I want to tell you guys I appreciate you allowing me to call in. Had some family stuff come up, and I needed to take care of that, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to chat it up and talk a little insurance because we're, within 75 days of hurricane season? Is that crazy?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
It goes quick, man, when you're having fun, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting too, Danny. Speaking of that, we just did our monthly mastermind with our Keller Williams office, and we looked at some of the stats because, of course, the beaches got hit pretty hard the last couple of years. But we just saw a really cool stat that popped out at all of us in the room. We had a room full of real estate agents there. It was the fact that the condos, townhomes, those detached properties have seen the first price improvement. Meaning they hopefully went to the bottom, and now we're seeing that, with that from what do they call it, the dead cat bounce, where you see it coming up, so you see that we may have hit the bottom as far as the pricing over on the beaches. So anyways, that came out from our monthly mastermind meeting. The values have rebounded for the condo townhome market over on the Gulf beaches.
Yeah. And on the insurance side, there's so many new carriers coming to the market here, Brandon, that, it can only help improve pricing, right? We get more options, more coverages, the pricing becomes competitive. So, I've definitely seen multiple carriers here taking some decreases over the last, 6 to 12 months or so. And I think it's a super positive trend in the insurance world. It's coming around very nicely. I think the times of where we're seeing $600, $700, $1,000 from the previous year, I think may be behind us. There are some areas, if you're on the Gulf, you're on the water. That's still a tough area. It is Florida. We get hit with hurricanes. So, but inland here, I think the rates are improving drastically.
Yeah, that's great, man. I love to hear it because we've got the big Florida Doge happening in the state of Florida. You know, the bills are kind of moving through the House into the Senate. I haven't heard anything new lately in terms of that last bill that's kind of sitting in the Senate, the Florida State Senate. But if we can reduce or eliminate and eventually phase out property taxes, I mean, that's one huge step in more affordability in Florida. And when you think about PITI, that's that principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, that fourth part of the equation there, that's where we want you talking to Daniel White, SSW Insurance Agency. Let them do a review for you. Take a look at what you've got. And if we can reduce those taxes, and then you can have Danny help you out on the insurance side, maybe help you get a little bit of a relief there on your insurance side. That's all part of the equation, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. That's what the team's built for. We definitely look forward to, working with all clients, whether it's personal home, auto insurance, commercial business. We are here. We want to run options. We want to provide options. We want to make sure that we have a good fit for you and for us.
Yeah, and you want to take a look at, other big news, happening. You've got so many people moving to the state of Florida. Kind of interesting to see. You see these different tech moguls moving down, Google's tech guys. You got Zuckerberg buying a house down in the East Coast. The latest that I just saw on Ron DeSantis' X account, he says he's got a kind of a joke here. He says Starbucks founder Howard Schultz announces that his family is leaving Seattle for Florida the same day that Democrats pass an income tax on Washington State. So, but Ron DeSantis, of course, as he sometimes has a great sense of humor, he says, also, I think it's an accurate statement of consumer preference that Florida runs on Dunkin' Donuts versus the Starbucks there. But anyways, yeah, you see all these folks moving down, and people are moving to Florida for a reason, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's beautiful here, right? I mean, it's surrounded by water. It's just an amazing. I was born and raised here, and I absolutely love Florida. The weather is fantastic. We get, a couple days of coldness, but other than that, I mean, it's usually sunshine, beaches, tons of entertainment around the area. And I should jump on X and send a message to the Starbucks guy so I can grab that insurance.
Yeah, that's right. You start thinking about the affordability factor. People are really looking at that affordability issue. But I think that we've seen pricing kind of regulate in Florida. We're adding much needed units to the housing sector. So I think that's all moving in the right direction. And of course, from a political standpoint, there's a lot of positives happening. We did a story a couple days ago on lab-grown meats, and I'm glad to say that that's not happening in Florida. There's a recent post here from Jay Collins. He says that he applauds the 11th Circuit's decision to uphold Florida's ban on lab-grown meat, and I'm proud to have sponsored that bill signed by Governor DeSantis. And he's, so you think about that. I mean, other states, they're allowing this to happen, but in Florida, we've got strong leadership, and we're keeping the social agenda-driven lab-grown meat out of Florida. I actually like the stuff that's grown in the pastures, the filet mignon coming out of the cows, not the lab-grown stuff that it seems like Bill Gates is trying to push that, those World Economic Forum folks pushing that out there. But I thought that was an interesting story. Have you seen or heard about that, Danny?
I've heard about it. I didn't read the story, but that's a little scary. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you. I like it to be grown in the pasture out there. Something that's grown in a lab that then is served on my plate is a little scary. It's a little much.
Yeah, exactly. It's wow. We're in 2026. Okay, there's a lot in the news too about Zillow. There's a alleged lawsuit happening with Zillow, and then another real estate company called Compass. I'm going to play a quick clip and then get your reaction here as well. So Zillow Here it is.
So we have absolutely huge news in the real estate industry today, as there's an ongoing court case going on between Compass and Zillow. And Compass is accusing Zillow of being a monopoly, and Zillow has taken a lot of Compass's listings off of their site because they believe in pre-marketing and all these kinds of things. And so they're in court, and the internal documents for Zillow were subpoenaed. And today they went public. And I'm not going to lie, they're shocking. We're going to go over them in a second. It talks about their strategy. There is stuff in there that I can't believe some of the executives put in internal documents and internal communication for the fact that they might be subpoenaed one day. We're going to get into that. But before we get there, there's another bombshell thing here, which is Zillow offered Compass $1.3 to $1.6 billion in revenue uplift if they would just fall in line. If they come off this whole pre-marketing thing, fall in line with the policies and procedures of Zillow's, get your properties on their site so everything's running through Zillow. Compass said.
So it's interesting, right? You look at the way that the real estate space happens. And I go back to all those years ago when the realtors, instead of keeping that data, I mean, think about it. As realtors, what did we have that everybody wanted? We had the listings. But we gave it up. We allowed these tech companies to syndicate our listings, and then now, essentially from other stories we've covered with this Zillow lawsuit, you have essentially where you've got the big Z word here controlling so much market share. And by the way, they didn't make any money for the first however long that company was about, or had entered the market. They were working on the premise that, hey, eventually we're going to be profitable. Eventually we're going to have enough realtors pay us a monthly fee. So if you don't know how it works, these realtors pay a huge amount of money per month for a percentage of a zip code. So essentially they're paying this platform to take our listings, my listings, other listing agents' listings. We've got about 45 current listings. And then they promote those listings. They put them on their site, but then they charge a third party, another realtor, $500, $600, $700, $800 a month in some cases to have their picture next to our listing. So it's kind of a little bit of a shady situation in some cases where you have these agents that are kind of presented as the listing agent, and then the buyer lead comes in. They say, "Oh, well, you're not the listing agent. I want to talk to the listing agent." Now, sometimes you can work through that, sometimes you can't. But then also, Danny, what happened is now they were also kind of caught, in a sense, or allegedly caught, steering people to their mortgage department, saying, hey, and there's some internal documents floating around with these practices, these monopolistic practices. And I think that's what's at the root of this. Have you heard about this suit, or what's your thoughts about that, the Zillow lawsuit?
I thought that they had come to a compromise or whatever it is, but I didn't look too much into it. But it's definitely. I mean, I get letters all the time from my mortgage company and all of that stuff saying, use this insurance. Everybody tries to monopolize everything, and it's a little scary. And consumers are they don't know what to do, right? And then it's like, okay, all right, I'll just use it. And so with the whole Zillow thing, you're right. You get the listing. You and your team work really hard to get that listing. You've done all the marketing, and now, it'd be nice if you could facilitate the seller and the buyer in the deal, right? With
Sure.
all of your marketing material. But Zillow's kind of taking that away from you a little bit. Or these big companies here that throw your listing out there on the internet and then, like you said, charge. I mean, I've heard $1,200 for certain zip codes from other realtors in certain areas, right? I mean, that's crazy. $1,200 a month. I hope I get some pretty good leads.
Yeah, exactly. And not to just be, in essence, hung up on or just quickly exited from the phone call when they find out that you're not the listing agent. So that's one of the challenges that I see behind this. And then, I guess they had offered Compass a number, a pretty high number in the billions, I believe. 1.6 was the number I heard. But it's interesting to see how these games are played, and how that happens. But I just wish that we could, get to a point where we owned our own data again and we didn't give it out to these big tech companies because ultimately, whenever a big company, a big corporation, they're ultimately beholden to their shareholder. You lose a lot of the that one-on-one that you should normally have in a sense when it comes to those types of things. But if you just joined us, we're talking with Daniel White, SSW Insurance Agency Incorporated. He's our insurance expert contributor. He's the go-to for all types of insurances. Danny, cover what all types of coverages that you have, different coverage, because I know there's business out there, there's commercial. What types of insurances do you cover, sir?
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. So again, we have a full team here. We've got 4 licensed agents. We've got service staff here as well. Great relationships with all of our partners and carriers. Any type of insurance request, if it's specialty lines, motorcycles, RVs, boats coming up, homes, automobiles, business, general liability, contractors, commercial buildings. So if you haven't, commercial building right now is huge. If you haven't had an opportunity to look at your commercial building coverage in a while, please reach out. There's so many new carriers out here that are willing to write some new business and provide great coverages. But all in all, Brandon, I want to just mention here before we drop off that, again, June 1st, right around the corner, hurricane season. Check your insurance policies, your home insurance, check your deductibles, understand your deductibles. If you have ever been concerned about flood insurance and your area has a little bit of flooding issues going on, reach out. If you're not in that flood zone, there's a 30-day hold on that policy. I don't want to see anybody getting stuck in worrying about their house flooding. But, we are here to help. Monday through Friday, we all have our cell phones as well, and we take phone calls from our realtors and mortgage brokers on the weekends just to keep things going.
There you go. Get a review also. I'd highly recommend getting a review from Danny. Let him look at what you have in your home, your auto, et cetera. 813-917-1894, 917-1894, consumerqb.com, consumerqb.com. And you can also find Daniel on his Facebook page as well, SSW Insurance Agency as well, and then insurewithssw.com. Daniel White, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you, and Godspeed, my friend.
Always, my friend. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Be safe.
All right, will do. All right, interesting story coming up. Dad charged with murder for killing predator who kidnapped his 13-year-old daughter, wins Republican primary for sheriff. Yes, it happened. We're gonna go over this story here coming up next. What would you do in that position? Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Tired of long lines at the airport? Check out Tampa Bay's premier private jet source. I'm Brandon Rimes for Will Smith Aviation, aircraft management, acquisition, and sales, luxury jet escapes, and packages. Check them out online, willsmithaviation.com. That's willsmithaviation.com, or call the show. I'll put you right in touch directly with Captain Will Smith. AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com for all of your non-woke American-made products. American values, Christian, conservative American values. Say hello to my business partner, Jim McCune at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin.com. Say hello to Shane Socash, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, 4009 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg. Online at DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com for all of your precious metals and jewelry design. David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin.com. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for Jason Coble, owner of Coble Law. Coble Law has been handling injury cases in Tampa for the past 14 years and has a specialized approach focused on limiting client cost and maximizing client profit. TampaWorkCompLaw.com, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Coble, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, personal injury law, and work comp law. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for our friends at TargetSurveying.net for all of your surveying needs. Land surveying firm providing services for real estate since 1992, and they are statewide. Check them out online, TargetSurveying.net. That's TargetSurveying.net. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb. Like
you want me to turn his mic on, or you're going to wait?
Investing or refinancing, we would love to talk to you. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, coming up, this dad charged with murder for killing a predator that kidnapped his 13-year-old daughter. He wins Republican primary for sheriff. Coming up, we're going to hit that story. Before we do, I'd like to feature our real estate listings. I've got a listing here on Shoreline Boulevard in Weeki Wachee, Florida. We've got the Weeki Wachee Marina for sale. Great opportunity to own a waterfront business. This is a beautiful property. This one's 3/4 of an acre lot. 7154 Shoreline Boulevard. You've got 3 parcels on the waterfront, multiple income streams. You have multiple income streams. So you got kayak rentals, boat rentals, paddleboard. You have retail shop. You got ice machine, big, commercial ice machine. You have a live-in space there that could also be utilized as an Airbnb short-term rental. And you have a Suzuki servicer provider. So it's an established motor repair business. Multiple income streams coming in. Close access to Hernando Beach and the Gulf of America. 7154 Shoreline Boulevard, Weeki Wachee, Florida. Great opportunity to buy real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. You can see all of our listings online at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Search the MLS there, as well as check out our radio talk show, all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com.
He's just made in America.
All right, so if you haven't heard about this story, this one's pretty crazy. So you got a dad that's charged with murder for killing a predator who kidnapped his 13-year-old daughter. He wins the Republican primary for sheriff. So Aaron Spencer has won the Republican primary for Lonoke County Sheriff in Arkansas while awaiting his murder trial, a case that should have never been brought. According to the records obtained by the Arkansas Times, Spencer called 911 shortly after 1 a.m. on October 8, 2024, to report his 13-year-old daughter missing after being awakened by his barking dog and discovered that she was gone. I mean, can you imagine that? Your daughter's gone in the middle of the night. He told police he believed that she was with a 67-year-old foster who had been arrested months earlier on 43 charges, including sexual assault of a minor and internet stalking of a child. Related to this alleged pursuit of Spencer's daughter, an arrest affidavit states that after the initial 911 call, Spencer went searching for them and later called Foster, said that Foster lunged at him while holding an unknown object and shouting an obscenity, prompting him to open fire. Spencer said he then removed his daughter from the truck, reloaded his weapon, and called 911. Hey, good move. Yeah, you got to reload right away. Man, what would you do in this situation, right? I mean, what in the world when you find your daughter missing? 13-year-old daughter, and you got these, you've got these child predators. By the way, in a related story, so think about this. Here's how this stuff happens. This is a recent post from the Hodge twins, who put out a lot of great content. But this Roblox programmer, Jamie Bourne, busted 40 counts of child porn possession, importing a child sex doll. He told investigators he's a programmer for the kids gaming platform, now facing millions in bonds. This is exactly why parents are pulling kids off Roblox. Pure evil exposed. And yes, we are in a spiritual battle. And the Bible verse that I want to quote relating to both of these stories is 1 Peter 5:8-9. Be sober and mindful. Be sober-minded and be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls and like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. Resist him firm in your faith. Hold firm in your faith. Put on the full armor of God is another one that comes to mind. So it's crazy times these days, folks. You got to make sure you're keeping your kids' phones before they go to bed. keeping those phones out of those private times and spending family time, praying over them, having dinners together. And, hey, another great show. I want to thank Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial. Stay tuned for our W-2 Financial Investor Seminar, ways to offset your W-2. We're going to be putting that out in about 5 or 6 weeks. Also, Daniel White for all your insurance needs, SSW Insurance Agency, Platinum MVP Team, Keller Williams Realty. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. Consumer QB show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.